Josh, I liked the Cody Rhodes CM Punk confrontation. I was a little worried after last weekend. They're going to go down the road of sort of irrational bickering and taking digs at each other that might outlast the match that they have against each other and hurt each other's character and fans' perception of them. And I actually thought they handled this really well. At kind of first thought on this segment, I'm excited to talk about it. It was about pride. It was about shared journeys, differences and similarities, inspirations at different times where they each inspired each other, how you can love someone but also dislike them at the same time. But mostly, and it was kind of bookended by comments by both of them, it's about the championship. You know, Cody's like, I want this belt for me, and Punk's like, there shouldn't be anything else. That's what this should be about. And then at the end, Cody, Punk said he's going to win and not even that he's still the best in the business and not even Dusty's son can beat him on the mic or in the ring. And of course, Cody took exception to that. But they came out of it where, like, if you liked both a lot, you didn't feel like you had to pick sides. You just understood why there's high stakes. There's a lot of history, and they want to find out who's better. And that should be enough a lot of the time when you have an exceptional occasion as opposed to a routine occasion to have two baby faces against each other. This should be the exception. This is the exception that proves the rule. Like, this is when you should do it, is when you have two guys who can just be classy to each other, not force fans to pick sides. And they really weren't either. This wasn't like, no Cody sucks or anti-Punk chants. So I thought they pulled this off. What did you think about last weekend coming into today? Did you have any fears, or did you like what they did last weekend? You got a little tension, maybe. I mean, that's a fair argument. But did you think they'd escalate it? And then how did you come out of it?
Yeah, so I'm mostly in line with you. Like, when they first started this, when Cody just came up to Punk in the very beginning, they're just like, all right, we're doing the match. It's very straightforward. They're two big stars. It's for the title. It was enough then. But you know how WWE is. You give them 3 weeks to fill until SummerSlam. They start trying to get cute and making things more important. And that's kind of what I was worried about last week, especially after Saturday night's main events and some of the clips from the Fanatics Fest thing, which apparently was a big sanctioned WWE event that I keep getting replays of. But the whole accidental belt thing and the subsequent argument, it's like, oh, they had it. It was too easy. They're going to make it more complicated than it needs to be. And I think, like you were saying this week, I think this was a course correction. I think they brought it back down to what it originally should be about and is about. And like you, I love Punk saying the title should be enough, but continue. And they don't need to manufacture fake tension. There's enough tension between two top guys fighting for the top prize in the game. And they're different personalities, and they play off each other well. I thought this segment was the highlight of the show for me. As a wrestling first kind of guy, still, I thought this promo segment was the highlight of the show. I'm kind of surprised they didn't put it in the main event slot, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, considering what did. At that, we'll get into the Sammy development coming out of that match too. But I was okay with how it ended. So a few chat comments we'll go with early here on the Cody Punk segment. Interesting comment from Adam Kidd. Yeah, the Punk Cody segment worked for me, and Cody came off very unlikable. I think, I don't know. I think Punk held it. I think Punk was Punk, but I didn't really see anything unlikable about Cody. I thought he was like, you inspired me. I did what you didn't do and nuked the business. And then Punk kind of came back and said, and Cody, like, I didn't think it was unlikable for him to go. And I always knew everyone wished it was you, not me. Like, that was big of him to say that. There's a kind of, I think fans won't be like, we like Punk more than Cody. It takes sort of the steam out of that. If Cody goes, I know y'all like Punk better than me. Like, it was disarming. Right. And it was like a really smart comment from Cody, whether he intended it that way or not. I kind of assume he did. It sort of disarms people feeling the need to tell Cody, yeah, we like you, but we like Punk better. Cody's going, I know that. So I don't know. I would be interested in Adam Kidd elaborating. He just says, I thought he sounded like a whiner. So what do you think, Josh?
I think Cody just kind of automatically rubs some people, and Adam, I'm fairly certain, is among them, just kind of rubs them the wrong way with how he is. So if you look at it, if you're kind of predetermined, like Cody is kind of like, he has that way about him. I understand he rubs some people the wrong way. Okay. I thought this worked really well, though. I thought he was as likable as Cody can be. He seemed genuine, and he doesn't always seem genuine.
As likable as Cody can be. I hope no one says that about me. No, I don't.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good, I did not feel him coming off like a whiner, but I could see how somebody might take that from what he said. But I thought his actual performance was good. And like you said, it was kind of disarming. He kind of like when you have a debate, how you kind of want to look at the possible arguments against you and kind of blunt those before they even come at you. I thought that
Right.
was well done by Cody.
I like Punk just going, I'm gonna break your heart at SummerSlam. Like they're just, good, memorable lines in there. But the thing is they didn't come across as if we are so desperate to sell tickets, we're just gonna do hot shot, hysterical. We're not going to do hot shot how do I say this? We're not going to do hysterical hot shotting out of desperation. Like it was just, we're going to just do our thing. We are who we are. We have our history. Let's pull from that. And that's what I wanted in the WrestleMania build. Like I wanted more of that. And Punk and Roman decided to go to, meta stuff and tearing each other down in ways that, I just didn't think was productive or helpful. This is like, okay, you can like both. You can like one more than the other. That's fine. I want to get Derek Hubbard's comments on this too. He says, Punk and Cody was intense, but it never crossed the line to make me dislike either. I thought Cody came across as mature. Most importantly, it was about winning the championship. He said, I love the segment. Both guys brought their A game. Only complaint was Cody's makeup. Too much.
I actually noticed that also.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that is where I am. Adam Kidd said I think it was spray tan. But whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, like Derek was kind of saying, they didn't tear each other down. If anything, they kind of built each other up. But then each kind of said, but I'm still going to beat you, even though you are this great, which is how it should be done, ideally, and just hasn't been in recent history.
Yeah. Yep. Another comment here from Darrell Freeman, a regular, goes, I liked tonight that Cody and Punk took the story back about them and their fight for the title, and they made the title feel important. Indeed. Yeah. I mean, there's, certainly some paralleling our comments, backing our comments here. So Powder Repeat says, WWE forced the crowd to pick sides. Tonight, they chose Cody as a heel. I disagree with both those things a little bit. I don't think the WWE forced anyone to take sides, unless you believe that's the case whenever you put two baby faces against each other. I don't think they forced anyone to take sides. This was just, I'm interested to see what they have to say to each other. Cody's a really good talker. Punk's regarded as the best of his generation, or certainly tied or within 1% of anybody who's better than him. But Cody can hold his own, and he did. And I don't know, I didn't come out of it like liking or disliking either of them more. I just respected their characters for handling it with the class that makes you want to cheer them against classless people before and in the future. That's not too hard. Like, why can't they just show their good character and their good judgment? Say what you will about Punk's judgment at times in real life, or Cody's judgment at times in different things that he's done that sometimes comes across a little, what's the word I often use? Not particular. There's a multi-syllable word. He's so...
Is it fastidious?
Fastidious. Thank you. That is exactly what I was looking for, Josh. Thank you. Sometimes a little too fastidious, a little too formal. Whatever. They all have their things that people can latch onto. But Cody and Punk didn't say any of that to each other. Like, they just pulled from canon, but in a way that they were both respectful. Now, Mika Curran says, did you catch the crowd booing Cody? Yeah, when he came out and the music stopped, there were some boos. Wasn't as much as I expected.
Yeah, that's been going for a while, even when he was against heels. So going up against Punk, the fact that it's not like amped up is actually almost a win in the Cody vote. Boos have been there. Granted, most of the heel opponents he's been matched against have been really popular heels who people would rather be baby faces. That is part of the problem. Part of the issue with Cody is, yes, there's the storyline, but WWE, screws that up and sometimes have the best, most witty people like Kevin Owens, not being heelish enough to get people to turn against him because it's kind of hard to do. Rude Dog says, the crowd was pretty silent for the Punk Cody promo. It didn't really seem like it was because they were invested. It seemed more like they were bored. I disagree with that, but I might be wrong. If we have an on-site correspondent who was in Oakland, give us a call. Let us know if you were bored or what you sensed. It is true. There were no but there weren't any of those moments where like, ooh, or ah, or any of that. But that's just because they weren't like big zingers. They weren't tearing each other down or going there. It was just a very straightforward promo. So it wasn't built with those kinds of highs and lows that some of the other builds that get big crowd reactions.
And I don't want them to be like going backstage after this going, oh God, we blew it. We didn't have anyone chanting, communal chants at us or whatting us or, like this was just like, let's listen to what they have to say. These are two people who we are invested in and care about with title. That's the number one title. I don't know. I mean, I guess people can interpret it how they want. I interpreted it as they were interested in what they were saying, leaning forward and not wanting to interrupt because there wasn't a slow moment in that promo. Adam Kidd in the chat says, yeah, Punk Cody worked for me. Cody came off very unlikable. I already read that. Okay. Well, sorry about that. Sorry for Cody for doubling down on that. Durrell added, you can use this story with Punk and Cody and let this be the start of Cody going heel or both of them down the road. Or it can just be what it was. I mean, obviously, Punk and Cody are candidates to go heel. And they both, I think, will be really good heels. Like, I think fans will, for the most part, depending on the booking and their opponents, embrace them being heels if they do that. And the Golden Boy Cody could be his nickname if Paul Heyman's managing him in 2 years once they decide they want to headline a WrestleMania 46 with Cody as a heel with Heyman against Obafemi, the 2-year running champ or something. I mean, whatever. There are cards to play with Cody and frankly with Punk too. But to me, I didn't see this as setting up something that they have did this look like they're laying breadcrumbs or portending a planned turn?
This segment did not. Some of the stuff last week and leading up to this, you could kind of get the idea that you could see Cody kind of overreacting and going heel. But I feel like they corrected on that. Didn't get any tips for either one going heel from this. This was very straight. If you're going to do a face-to-face matchup, this is kind of exactly what it should be.
Yeah. Punk with throwing the belt over his shoulder. My first thought was when Cody's like, you did that on purpose. I'm like, I mean, even if he did, you're kind of overreacting. Like,
right.
Like what you want Cody to say is, "Oh, Punk, I don't know if you meant to fling the belt in my face, but if you're trying to get me worked up, it worked." And then you just move on. It's like on social media, don't feed the trolls. Like that was Punk trolling him, and just like acknowledge it, just be like, "All right, look out, I might, fling my weightlifter's belt at you to get even," and kind of have a laugh about it or something. I don't know. He did seem like he overreacted, but to me, that didn't seem like, oh, they're trying to turn Cody heel as much as they're going down a road I don't want them to go down, and they're doing some tropes, which is, blowing out of proportion a misunderstanding. And they had a couple spots in the match where Cody collided with Punk or whatever, and at least that wasn't, a huge issue. But frankly, Punk might have been being a punk and did kind of, know he was flinging the belt at him. If you walk past someone in a narrow hallway and you kind of shoulder check them a little bit, you can deny it, but you probably if you don't like them and there's history, it probably was a little bit of an intentional moment. So I thought that was left open for interpretation. It just, I think even if Cody's character felt certitude, Punk did it on purpose, he shouldn't have sold it the way that he did. It made him feel a little unhinged in a way that normally he doesn't. Darrell's framing of it, by the way, is Punk and Cody came back tonight and fixed what they did last week, and they sent their feud in a good direction. JC Scooby says, Punk and Cody had the best segment of the night. Wrestlers in the back should have been watching how to do it. Yeah. Darrell said, I love that's a different topic. We'll save that. Sorry, Darrell. Standard Deviation said, Cody and Punk introduced the pre-existing personal storyline elements without taking away from what it's all about, the title. This is two pros showing TKO how it's done. Josh, I think that's well put. I mean,
yeah, if TKO watches this and thinks this is worse than adding Pat McAfee, then they are the problem, because this is exactly how it should be done.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Powder for Pete says, I'm a Cody fan, and I agree he didn't get a fair shake being a top champ, but I feel like I'm ready for a Cody turn.
I mean, Cody will be a very good heel when they get to it. Like, he's got the pieces basically in place. He needs to make very few adjustments to go full heel and be very successful at it. So yeah, I look forward to that. I think they probably want to get as much as they can out of him as a face, though, because getting a top baby face, very difficult. Getting a strong heel, a little easier to come by. Well, getting someone to boo a heel in this condition is another story entirely, but just getting someone to be a heel is not as hard.
Yeah. Yep. Some other comments here. The heel Mark. Good to hear from you again, Mark. The link, by the way, if you want to call the show, is in the TV report on the website. Free. You can just go to the free site too. If you're looking to be a caller, I saw him make a comment on that in the chat. So heel Mark goes, if Cody doesn't go heel soon, we riot. Okay. Sadler, by the way, said the crowd sounded interested to me. That was his perception of the crowd, not disinterested. Derek Hubbard said on Monday's post show after Raw, he hosted with me after Raw, I stated the only thing I needed was for both wrestlers to talk about why the match and the title is so important to them. We got a version of that tonight. Absolutely. Paul Durford Pete said the theme of Cody being on top too long rang true. Adam Kidd, who will be on the show in a moment here, says it was a very good segment. Second best on TV this week after Sammy tonight. So, yeah, we definitely got some Sammy stuff to talk about. Mark Biscetti says both conveyed nobility. Blurring the lines shouldn't make either unlikable. That was the most human aspect of the promo. And JC Scooby says wrestlers in the back hopefully watched the Punk Cody segment, how to cut a promo for a match, especially a babyface match. You know, that's the key here. Yeah. Adam Kidd said he's not in the Cody fan club, so it might not be the best compass, too. So, yeah, I mean, you know, that happens sometimes. Let's see if there's another comment on this, and then we'll go on from there. Let's see. Derek Mitchell said Cody and Punk segment is what professional wrestling should be. Lately, WWE has felt like it's being run by charlatans, solely focused on extracting as much money from the fans as possible.
Yeah, well, they're still extracting money from the fans. They're selling a 15-year pipe bomb anniversary promo action figure of some kind when they didn't acknowledge Punk for 10 years of that 15 years. And 15 is not a big anniversary worth celebrating unless you can make money off of it.
Yeah. And Club WWE, John Cena.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, I went to 17 cities. It was so special to me that I want to sell you merchandise about the things that I remember about the 17 cities that I went. It's so celebrity, self-centered. I don't even know. I mean, Josh.
Yeah. I mean, I love having to pay money to get access to things I can buy. I don't like just being able to buy things. I want to have to pay money to get exclusive access to things. And especially, I don't have anything nice to say about it.
Yeah, and like this idea that like John Cena's life of traveling to 17 cities on his retirement tour is so interesting to everybody else that they're going to want to wear a T-shirt that commemorates John Cena traveling to 17 cities. Like you traveled your whole freaking career all over the world, and now you want us to like proudly wear a T-shirt that says I paid for Club WWE so that I can wear a T-shirt that's celebrating a vacation or some sort of fun tour to place some of Cena's favorite places that I didn't even get to go on. Like it's just at some point it's just Cena. I want Cena to like look the merch guy in the face and go, you know what? I'm worth like $40 million or something. I don't even, probably more than that at this point. I don't need to lower myself to talk down to fans and have them spend hard-earned money to wear a shirt that commemorates me traveling to 17 cities. Like at some point, don't you just like get embarrassed at what you're asking of fans to care about? I don't know. I'm hard on Cena right now, but he's really, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, like in real life. Like I'm sure he's, you know, like he's not a bad, but he's insufferable as a character and he's low IQ with a lot of stuff that he does. And he is a merch whore. He's just like his whole career is always about merch. And at some point, does it click with people? Like, you know, there's something kind of extreme about the through line of what Cena it cares most about. And I mean, we've heard about that. You know, I've heard stories about that. It's merch. It's like how he keeps scoring life. And it's anyway. Okay, I'm done talking about Cena. Really, I am. All right. Sure. Let's see. Well, unless someone triggers it. Crofton Steers, who could that be? Says, I found the Punk Cody promo awkward in a bad way. It felt to me they were throwing everything against the wall and figuring it out as they went. And I agree about the dead crowd. So good to have different viewpoints. Sometimes I get swayed or I look at things differently later on, but I don't agree with that framing of it. It's not.
Well, I was just saying, I kind of see what he's saying. It was a little, at times, meandering promo. I feel like it did go a little longer than necessary. Like Cody was kind of touching on things and he kind of repeated some things. I thought it could have been tightened up, sure, but I still think it was good enough to overcome that.
Okay, yep. Derek Hubbard said, I'd hold off on turning either Cody or Punk heel until crowning the next top-tier babyface is imminent. Well, I think the imminence of that was like a month ago, and now it's past, which was get Oba on track to beat Roman this year. But right. There's multiple fine paths to take, but I probably would have chosen that. Derek Hubbard says, merch whore. That would make a good T-shirt.
Don't put it past him.
Oh, wait, I said I wasn't going to talk about him anymore. That's sort of implied. Rude Dog says, Cody in Ring of Honor in 2017 was my favorite heel of the year that year.
Oh, he can heel.
Cody's going to be a fun heel.
Yeah.
But I mean, he might actually sell more merch as a heel than he's selling right now as a babyface. Who knows? Darrell says Cody and Punk is the second big match of the weekend, and they needed this tonight to swing it back into shape. In our PWTorch poll, and I encourage everybody to go vote. Still, voting is open. They've added some matches since we put up the poll, but nothing that I think is going to really change things. So I asked people to put in order the matches from most to least impact on interest in SummerSlam. And let's see what we got as results now. Obafemi and Brock Lesnar are in first place, 375 points. Punk versus Cody, second place, 353 points. So second most important, as Darrell says. Gunther Aldis, 296 points, ahead of Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins with 254 points. And Penta versus Chad Gable is almost surpassing Roman and Seth right now, within a few points, 7 points. And then from there, the other matches are the LA Knight 6-man tag is actually lowest, which surprised me a bit. But fair enough. Let's see. Rude Dog with the John Cena story. What are you people doing? There's a man in his 50s that regularly comes into my work that is always dressed in full John Cena gear, jorts included, and he brings his poor little daughter who seems super embarrassed. Oh God. JC Scooby says Cena whores out any chance he gets. All right. I'm not going to read any more Cena comments. I don't care unless they're nice ones. Then I'll balance out all my mean comments with nice Cena comments. Not too many, but I'll do it. Okay, so let's pause, introduce ourselves, and then we'll bring Adam Kidd on the show, Darrell Freeman, and anyone else who decides to call. Got more to talk about, including a fun night with Sami Zayn and some developments there. All right, this is a Wade Keller Pro Wrestling post show for Friday, July 24th, 2026. I'm Wade Keller, host of the show, editor, publisher, and founder of the Pro Wrestling Torch weekly newsletter. Here's the latest copy, by the way, the paper copy. Saturday Night's Main Event, getting the headline, my newsletter exclusive report on Saturday Night's Main Event with a scathing commentary on Stephanie McMahon's reaction to a big angle on the show after the main event. She was just like anyway. So yeah, that's the paper copy. You can subscribe to that if you'd like. If you want to look forward to going to your mailbox once a week and settle in without a screen and now notifications and all that stuff. If you want to kind of go analog, it's kind of a trend right now. And I've even got my old iPod out. I took my dog on a walk without my phone today and just had an iPod, no notifications, no stopping to check email, just listen to the Black Keys while I was walking my dog. It was nice. It was peaceful. But we have a VIP membership, and we welcome all of you to go VIP if you want to get a digital copy of the newsletter. It is published for everyone who's a VIP member. With a full VIP membership, you get a PDF and all-text version of it. Full information on VIP membership, which includes a ton of VIP exclusive podcasts throughout the week. The Fix with Todd Martin, Everything with Rich and Wade, our post-pay-per-view and PLE roundtables, Wade Keller Hotlines, reviewing Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, breaking news, and a bunch of other VIP exclusive shows, including archives going back 18 years on the podcast feed, which is compatible with Apple Podcasts. And if you sign up through if you sign up through Patreon, it links up with Spotify. So whatever ecosystem you're part of, we've got you covered. You can also use your VIP membership to sign up with just about any iOS or Android app out there. So check it out, PWTorchVIPinfo.com. Also unlocks nearly 4 decades of archives of audio shows, radio shows, podcasts, and newsletters. So, and you get an ad-free website too, an ad-free version of our website with exclusive content. So PWTorchVIPinfo.com. We are a small business. We have not been bought out by some investment equity firm who's whatever, all the stuff that, all the fast food restaurants are owned by like one company now. Like they're all just eking out all the profits they can get. We're not that. We're just small business doing our thing. We are not been bought out by WWE. We don't have WWE like branding us anymore, like on Sirius or anything. We're just doing our own thing here. If you want to support independent journalism, independent analysis, good way to do it is VIP membership. We'd love to have you support us. We'll give you a lot in return. It's not charity. We're giving you a really good product in return. So if you like what we do, That's the way to do it. PWTorchVIPinfo.com. We are here to talk SmackDown. We got a chat open, so join in if you're watching us live on the PWTorch YouTube channel. We're live. I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night after Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. We also have our post-NXT show. We also have some SummerSlam post shows on the YouTube channel coming up next weekend. So you're welcome to join us live. We also have our podcast. To get the podcast version of our post show, search Wade Keller. The red logo shows up. That's a post show. A blue logo shows up. That's our flagship, some interviews, media Q&As, and other flashbacks. It's all free. If you're not VIP, if you go VIP, you get commercial-free versions of those shows. All right. Josh White is my co-host tonight. Welcome, Josh. Good to have you back in the co-host chair. You have a wonderful show with Stephanie Chase and sometimes fill-in co-hosts called Worse or Better on the PWTorch Daily Cast feed. To get that for free, search PWTorch in your podcast app. There's a different show each day of the week with different themes. We've got a show covering Impact Now, NXT, the indie scene, the 90s Past Cast. What am I leaving out? The All Elite Conversation Club. And I know I'm leaving something out. Anyway, whole cool lineup of fresh shows throughout the week, different pairs of co-hosts with different themes. And Josh, you have the second newest show now that Destination Impact is on the lineup. Good to have you. Good to have you back. You also help us cover AEW Collision.
Yes,
usually on weekends. So welcome.
Yeah, I noticed you were listing shows you do post shows for. You didn't say anything about Collision, which is why I'm here, because somebody has to watch Collision, and it's me. So yeah, if you don't watch Collision, and that's almost all of you, read the report so you can keep up on the 1 to 2 things that happens that might actually be relevant over the course of that 2 hours.
A lot can happen. Just sometimes it's nothing important, even if 20 things happen. Sometimes they're not super important, but every once in a while it does, like that Hangman Page interview that apparently isn't part of canon. It just happened, but no one's ever mentioning that.
Also, if they don't replay it on Dynamite, it wasn't important, even if you thought it was when you watched it.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I was going to plug something else. I don't know what it was. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Tell people about your latest Worse or Better episode or some recent themes that you had on the show to encourage people to check it out.
Yeah, so that show is myself and typically Stephanie Chase taking a wrestling topic writ large and just kind of comparing it over the decades, kind of running down the history quickly and not always quickly, sometimes slow. Like we recently did a SummerSlam episode where we're just going to highlight some episodes, and we just went through every single SummerSlam, and that was like a 2+ hour show. But basically, we're just determining, like, is the current situation of said topic doing better or worse than previous eras, previous times?
Or one might say worse or better.
Yeah, I mean, you could put it any number of ways. I would have said better or worse. Most people would. But worse or better is the name of the show, so that's how we're going to say it from here on out. But yeah, we've done some fun topics like wrestling music themes with a popular one, commentary. I think we're lining one up on managers in the near future. But if you want me to do a bit of a transition, Stephanie couldn't make it last week, so I had a fill-in. And I got a guy I know named Adam Kidd, who these people will know from the chat. And we had a kind of a chat, worse or better wrestling in general over the last year from SummerSlam to SummerSlam. So that was a good episode. Just kind of, a lot of times we're not talking a lot of current stuff, but this was literally just the last year. So it was a kind of a current, how's wrestling doing situation. I don't remember if he landed on worse or better. Maybe Adam, if he pops up on the show or something, could tell me, because I don't remember.
Cool. Well, that's a good transition. So, I will go to Adam Kidd right after I say, if you want to call into the show, the link is in my TV report at PWTorch. Just go to the website, go to my SmackDown report, the Keller report. You'll see a link there. You can call. Also, you can email us if that's easier for you, especially if you're not watching our post show live, but you want your email to be read during the show to listen to later on a podcast in our podcast format. Wade Keller postshow at gmail.com. Greg Parks will be joining me on Tuesday on the flagship. We'll be previewing SummerSlam and looking back on the AEW pay-per-view Sunday night. AEW Retribution, right? Retribution.
It's Redemption, but
Redemption,
it's an art.
Yeah. People think it's a bit. I genuinely am like flustered when
I was going to let you go because I thought it was a bit, and I'm like, oh no, he really is wrong. Okay,
I really am wrong. It's more just the word rebellion comes to mind. I just get lost. By the way, on the PWTorch Daily Cast on the All Elite Conversation Club that drops tomorrow, or is it tonight? Dropping soon. Tony Khan's media Q&A is also part of that daily cast. If you want to hear what Tony Khan had to say about the event, also some interesting comments on Sami Zayn, wrestling reporting that others are doing, not us, that they say has been blown out of proportion or is inaccurate. You can, whatever. I mean, it doesn't mean promoters sometimes aren't being forthright and the reporting is right. I'm just saying he talked about it and claimed there was some reporting that was wrong or timelines are wrong. Sean Radican also called into the show. PWTorch's own asked a question. So that is available on the PWTorch Daily Cast feed if you want to get a dose of some AEW talk going into Sunday. But Wade Keller postshow at gmail.com is the email for this show. Wade Keller podcast at gmail.com is the best email to use if you want to submit a question or a topic or a rant for next Tuesday's flagship. All right. Let's bring Adam Kidd into the conversation. Adam, welcome.
What's going on,
Good
guys?
to see you. Good to hear from you. What's going on?
Same old, same old. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Well,
Yep. Josh,
I'm doing well, and I'm doing good. I always do good when I give my dog a chance to sniff anything he wants to sniff on his walk.
That's always a good day when the dogs are happy, for sure.
Yeah.
Thought tonight was a good show, kept my attention. But it was very promo heavy. There wasn't a whole lot of wrestling for being a wrestling show.
Yeah.
And generally I prefer a little more of the promos and the building, but there's a happy medium. I think way too much promos tonight, probably way too many matches sometimes on a Wednesday. The right mix is somewhere in the middle. For my preference, I understand that I'm not the same as everybody, and I don't expect everybody to have the same taste I do. But for me, I want a little bit of best of both worlds and a good mix of that. I really did enjoy the Punk Cody segment. I thought they did a good job, like Darrell said, of getting it back on track. It's about their past and that they both need to have that title. I thought that it was very well done. Like I said, I'm not probably the best compass when it comes to Cody because he just comes off as super fake and disingenuous to me. The smile, the fake smile, and the blonde hair, and it bugs me. I don't know. Very Homelander.
I get it.
To me, it's just, I'm sure he's a great guy, and I totally believe that he really does enjoy when he sees the kids and slapping their hands and signing the autographs. I think that part's genuine. It's when he opens his mouth and during a promo where the crying and when talking about Dusty and the story, it's worn on me. I was really happy when he first came back. I enjoyed him in AEW. I thought he got a bad rap and just he cut his own legs because he had to have agreed to the stip for the no title thing. So he cut his own legs out from underneath himself in AEW. I don't even blame Tony. That doesn't happen without him being okay with it in that company. So, but I was happy with where that's going. Sammy was phenomenal.
Let me pause for one second.
That Sammy segment.
Adam, let me pause for 1 sec. Speaking of Cody, Sunday night, we're dropping our 5 years ago Dynamite post show. And we had 4 on-site correspondents. People were so excited to be back after COVID. We shut down the live shows with crowds. We had 4 on-site correspondents. But the summary of the show notes that part of what Greg Parks and I talk about on that post show is Cody Rhodes being booed against Malachi Black. So think about everything that's happened since Cody getting booed 5 years ago, starting to get booed. It feels like that. I would have, without thinking about it, I would have thought it was 8 years ago. It just feels like there's no way that was just 5 years ago that was happening with everything that's happened since then. I almost believe it was a 10 years ago show, and I'm wrong right now, but I'm checking the dates. So anyway, it's kind of fun. But if you want to listen back to that, that'll drop on the Wade Keller post show feed that you're likely listening to now on the podcast side of things on Sunday night. So it'll be a fun listen. Lots of other stuff going on there on that show too, including some hints of CM Punk arriving. So anyway, Adam, just want to sneak in that plug, but I think it's kind of a cool thing for people to look forward to because looking back at Punk and Cody talk would be
great
fun.
Point. Yeah.
Yep.
Because,
so go ahead, Adam.
And looking back on it now, hindsight being 2020, is it just proves, I think, that he made the right decision when he left, because the fan bases, or the rabid fan bases of each, are so different. That hardcore fan base in AEW wasn't that goody two shoes. Oh, gee shucks, Cody. That wasn't going to work with that crowd. It plays well with the families and the kids. It's just he's not a dummy. I'll give him that. He's not stupid. And he parlayed. He's seen the writing on the wall, and he's made a really good decision for his career when he left. But to the Sammy thing,
yeah.
that promo that he gave backstage was phenomenal. It was just, he's acting, but that he believes a little bit of what he's saying. You can tell
Yes.
there was some real venom in that, and I love that he took the shot at Cody and called him the Golden Boy, and I love that he called Punk out. And I like Punk, but I love that he called Punk out as, you turned into everything that you weren't. You're a corporate sellout Golden Boy number 2. The whole thing, I put every title on Sammy right now. He's the best thing going in WWE for sure. I won't say he's the best thing in wrestling, but he's done some of the best all-around character work, in-ring work of anybody in the business so far in 2026. He's just been great, and I can't take my eyes off the screen. When he's on the screen, I want to watch it, and I think that says something. For I'm a fan that's been watching since I was 8 years old, or even younger than that. So it's
me too.
Yeah.
So Josh, talk about Sammy.
Good.
Josh, talk about Sammy tonight. What do you think?
It seems like every time I'm on a post show, the thing I'm always saying is Sammy is so good, and the reason is because Sammy is so good. So I have to say it because he's always so good. And this was like different than the kind of put upon, kind of complaining, whining Sammy we've been getting for the past month or so. This was more intense, more direct, more focused, and still so good. And like I liked the content, and I loved the delivery. I even liked the setup where he just like hijacks the camera to cut this promo. Yeah, there's very good stuff. If we hadn't had a good Punk Cody segment, like this would be the segment I'm talking about. Like this was the reason to watch the show, because Sammy's just that good. And adding Sammy and Finn, I mean, that's another selling point for SummerSlam on me if there was an off chance of me having to pay money for it. But yeah, that'll be a good match. And there's automatically something on the line. There's automatically a storyline behind it just because it involves Sammy.
They've done a nice job in recent weeks making Finn seem more relevant again. I mean, even if you're like, I'm not buying it, he's a has-been, or whatever, they're over pushing him. Like the story is he's focused and he's in the title picture. And so, it's kind of wondering, where does Sammy end up and what's the story that gets him there? And you can't really have a story in this small window of time, other than he says, I'm riding the bench. And then Adam Pearce is like, okay, the winner of tonight's 4-way has to beat you at SummerSlam to get a title shot. It worked, I thought. What'd you think of that as a path to get Sammy a match? We're praising Sammy's performance, but what about the structure of the path he took, and what he's doing at SummerSlam? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good pivot. I think for Sammy's character, they could have left him off of SummerSlam, and that would have been a step in his path. But I think I would rather have him in a spot, a visible spot, and on the show. Otherwise, he's probably just running in during the Punk and Cody match, and I don't want that. So yeah, I think getting him on the show, I think this was a logical way to do it, and probably best case scenario at this point.
Storyline wise, they could have left Sammy off the show, and if this was like just a pure TV show, they probably would have done that. But they want to sell tickets, and they, kind of in a real life sense, want to give Sammy a chance to like work a stadium show when he's really over. But I know that like the tempting thing to do if this were a movie or just a TV series, a scripted TV series, is leave him off the show. I think even if fans go, I buy the story of Sammy being left off, and in a meta sense, I get that they're trying to create frustration with him, and there'll be a moment that he has, next year probably where he moves to main events again. You could imagine people going, I was waiting to decide whether I wanted to buy my ticket if Sammy's going to have a good match, and I'm not going to go. Like I think WWE just doesn't want to risk not having a guy who's been so central on the show, assuming it even crossed their mind not to have him on it. Is Sammy Finn, it's better than nothing, and it'll be a good match. So I like all of that, but I wonder if there'll still be fans who are like, Sammy still deserves something better than a happenstance match, which is what this is. Finn happened to win the 4-way, therefore he faces Sammy, but it could have been Trick or Priest. Like, I don't know. Fans still might be like, Sammy deserved better. That said, it should be a hell of a match. So at least you've got that consolation. It's not against a below average worker or something like that. Adam Kidd, jump back in if you want.
Yeah, you know what I like the most about that segment? I like the passion at the beginning before Pierce came. But I like that when Pierce gave him the, hey, this is what I can do for you, that he didn't just immediately go, okay, fine, I'm happy. He contemplated about, no, you know what, that's not good enough. But then in the moment, he was able to compose himself enough to go, okay, at least I'm on the show. But he wasn't just like, oh, okay, and I'm happy now. He thought about it and was like, really, I have to earn my way to be the number one contender. The whole, like, Cody just says say win and things are falling out of the sky for Punk, but I'm a former champion and didn't get my rematch, and
he made a good case.
I have to earn my way back into it. Like,
it
was. I love that he wasn't happy about it, but he accepted it because it was like, okay, at least I'm on the show. But like the whole thing was just perfect to me.
Sammy would be a good podcaster if he was reviewing wrestling shows and he got upset about things. He'd be like, so what? There's such a lack of logic here. You got this, and then this happened, and then they didn't refer to it, and this guy did this, but there's no way he would have actually done that. Like, he'd be really entertaining, like being, because he's reviewing his treatment of himself, his character. They didn't want me to be champion, and so I was forced to defend my title on a show I'm not even on a few days' notice, and then fresh as Daisy, ready to go. There's CM Punk, and then he's the corporate poster boy number 2. I mean, he was just on a roll.
Right.
They love having Punk. And then he's like the body language. Love having Punk versus Cody on the poster. Everybody's happy, but what about me? I mean, it's just it's just so good. Make it make sense to me, Adam Pearce. Like, yeah, it's great. So
yeah, he's so good.
Yep. All right, Adam Kidd, we got lots of callers lined up. So I'm not going to.
Yep, I got one last thing, and then I'm going to get out of your way. Yep.
Sure.
Just one thing was, I thought that the Nick Aldis, I thought he did a good job in his half of that promo. I thought that he did a nice job of building that.
Yep.
I want to see that match now. I want to see it. So I thought that was good tonight. The wrestling tonight was it's typical Triple H crutch. Distraction, interference, BS finishes all around, and I'll just say thank God I don't have to pay for a lot of the WWE content, because I don't think I'd be watching as much if I did. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you for having me on, Josh. Thanks for letting me co-host this week with you, and Wade, thanks for allowing that to happen. You guys are the best. Go VIP, well worth the money. Wade's the best in the business. Great podcast, great website, and best of all, he has this great community where we can all get on here and chat and talk about the sport we love. And I appreciate him for it, and I appreciate all of you. Have a great night. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate the very kind words.
Yep.
Sami Zayn needs to hit a pep talk from somebody like that.
Have a good night, guys.
He's getting it on this show. We're praising the heck out of him. Let's take just a brief moment, Josh, before we get to our next call. The Nick Aldis Gunther segment I thought was handled really well. They finally kind of officially, overtly introduced into WWE Smackdown canon. Nick Aldis was NWA champion. He is a retired wrestler whose last match was 3 years ago. And I thought Gunther just going, since I arrived, you've had it out for me, and it's because you're jealous. Because he's like, I'm a multimillionaire. I've won, titles, and you were NWA champ, kind of a verbal pat on the head, but you didn't get to do what you wanted, which was be a WWE superstar. And Aldis is the king of just being dignified. Like, he took it, and he didn't demean himself. He didn't overreact. He didn't like snap back in a way that like sort of undercut his composure. But he's got it in for Gunther, just with the shove. So yeah, I thought it was like really just kind of top tier what I was, what I would hope for out of kind of the big selling point for this match, Josh.
Yeah, I thought Gunther was great. I thought he was very good. I thought he was just so smug. But you could also feel like everything he said, at least his character, 100% believes it. That's exactly how his character feels about Nick Aldis. And yeah, I thought all this was also very good. Dignified is the right word. He has like this kind of British, like centered thing going on where like, but you can tell that like he is going to give Gunther a fight. Yeah, I thought, like Adam said, it made me actually kind of want to see this match. Whereas as they've been building, I've been kind of like, this just seems like an unnecessary way to get Gunther on the card. But yeah, I think this will like, and this was what, number 3 on your list of anticipated matches on SummerSlam thing, which is surprising to me because I took that thing and my Gunther all this match is somewhere in the middle. But after this, I would probably move it up a couple notches. I thought this was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, there's time in the next week for them to move into first place after tonight's segment. But honestly, Punk, Cody, and Oba Brock are way ahead. I mean, that's the top tier, and then there's a drop off. But they got a sizable lead over Roman and Seth, which it surprises me. Like it surprises you, but I'm also not like, what? There must be something wrong, or people are fake voting. Like I get it. I kind of, it's original and novel, and it doesn't involve a bad Seth Rollins promo building it up, and and a rehashing of something that people just weren't excited about. So, all right. Sadler Vision 3 goes, I think Gunther needs to go back to dressing like a video game character with a long black jacket. He looks like a regular guy when he just wears a t-shirt and jeans. It's almost like he lost his luggage when he walks out in a white t-shirt. And
my thought was he looks very American in a way that's not fitting for him.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure. What do you think he's going for?
Maybe that's what he just normally wears. I don't know, but I agreed it was surprisingly like out of character and did not do him any favors.
Yeah, maybe he's inspired by Kenny Omega. It's just casual dress. Yeah. Derek Mitchell says Nick Aldis carries a sense of dignity similar to that of Nick Bockwinkel, for sure. Nick Bockwinkel should have had a British accent. It's a shame. He didn't. Powder, he says, yeah, man, the plain white t-shirt was jarring. So. Yeah, I don't know. Crofton says, I think they wanted a contrast in attire with Aldis and Pierce. Okay. Yeah.
They did get that.
That existed, for sure. Actually, and interestingly, Derek Mitchell with a super chat. In fact, I'll sneak this in before we go to a call, but I don't think it was a super chat that I was looking for. Anyway, I'll just throw those up. Derek Mitchell, thank you for the super chats as always. King of the super chats here on the show goes, tonight's show definitely felt like an infomercial at 3 a.m. That's a reference to not a lot of matches, but a lot of promos hyping stuff. I didn't think it was video package heavy, though. I mean, the video packages were short. There were a handful, but they didn't. I don't think any of them were really like. I didn't feel like I got this. Like I don't feel like after watching SmackDown, I had to relive Fanatics Fest again. It was pretty brief.
Yeah, no, they were at least brief. But again, it's weird that they focused on Fanatics Fest like it was this big WWE Canada event where so many things took place when could I have watched that on TV? I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's weird. Derek Mitchell says, Gunther acknowledging Nick Aldis being a former NWA World Champion. Ironically, Adam Pearce is also a former NWA World Champion. Yeah, I don't know if that's in canon or not. In WWE canon, that is. Okay, then another super chat from Derek, and then we'll get to our next call. Wade, you've mentioned several times that Moxley could be in a prestigious TV series. I agree with Adam that Sammy's promo tonight was excellent and similarly worthy of a prestigious role, a role in a prestigious series. I am trying to think. Can you think of, Josh, what show that you like? I'd take Sammy as a guest patient in the pit.
Sure. Yeah, I could see him just throwing a fit that he is not getting the proper care. Yes, that's very right down his aisle. Yeah. And Moxley would be a great doctor on that show.
Yeah. Or paramedic. I think he could be the paramedic who's
just
kind
covered
of
in blood.
Yeah, covered in blood, and he's always like doing a procedure that he's not supposed to do yet, and then the docs have to be like, "You're not supposed to. That's for us to do." He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do." So actually, Sammy could be a recurring character in the waiting room, and just in the waiting room the whole series, and just stealing the scene with just like going to the front desk, going, "When are you gonna get this? Like whatever this." I'm trying to think of what injury would be funny, but not too funny. But yeah. Something sticking in his ear, like a fork stuck in his ear. And like they have to keep, don't pull it out. We'll get to you, but you're stable. Like, all right. Anyway,
I would watch that.
Yes. But we're open to suggestions. Rude Dog says Cody on Curb Your Enthusiasm would be gold. It would, but it almost feels too obvious. But it would be wonderful.
Sure.
Yeah. Crofton Steers says Sammy has a patient in shrinking, explaining his issues with his friend Cody Rhodes, or any friend. Yes. Mark Biscetti says Gunther lost a lot of weight, but he also lost some of his presence. Presence, not presents, not gifts. I don't know how to clarify that. Anyway, Chris Rucker goes, anybody inspired by Omega's wardrobe is going the wrong way. Chris also said, it took everything in me not to call in today and not check Wade on his Sting slander from Wednesday. Still love you, Wade. I said, tell me when I'm telling a lie. Nice guy. But,
I mean, Cena's a nice guy, but merch horse still.
Yes.
I've heard.
All right. But you've seen. Pile to repeat. I wonder if Pierce will get the itch. I wonder if we are going to head towards a Pierce Aldis match, because they're kind of setting. I mean, honestly, they're laying that when we talk about laying groundwork, Aldis kind of like pushing things, like taking a SmackDown main event, moving it to Raw, his show, like in the title match, and now it's like you as you sign this contract, now I'm running things. It does feel a little. Oh, it's such a dated reference. Who was the guy who ran out when Nixon resigned and said, no, when Reagan was shot? And there's some senator who's like, I'm running things until we get a hold of the vice president or something like that. And people are like, settle down. And so there's a little bit of Adam Pearce going, you're giving up control to SmackDown when you do this. So anyway, so Derek, you know who I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. The senator who marched in front of cameras and said, I am de facto president until we figure out what's going on with Reagan and someone gets a hold of Bush. All right. Let's get to Heel Mark on the show. It's been way too long.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Heel Mark, welcome. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys? How's it going?
Good to hear from you. It's been a while.
Likewise. It has been a long time. I'm doing very well.
Good to hear.
Very good. I do have a Sami Zayn. I'd like to see him on a contestant of the Traitors. You know, I'm a faithful. I swear to God, guys, don't vote against me. It's a crime to vote against me. Don't do it.
Good.
He'd be perfect.
I was trying to think like him and Julia Louis-Dreyfus on like Veep would be fun to. I don't know what role he'd have. He could be a third-party candidate on a political show.
Yeah. You know,
like just ruining the debate. One issue, like the rent is too high, guy. Like you just be like, whatever. Anyway, go ahead.
So I wanted to give you a really good update. I got my best friend into wrestling.
Sweet.
Like I took him to Blizzard Brawl, a live show that's here in Wisconsin, and it's pretty big in Wisconsin. And then he started watching like WWE with me, and he sat down. He's really into Jey Uso. Like, I don't know why, but he's really liking Jey Uso.
You're too late. You're too late.
Yeah, I know, but he's really into Jey Uso. And when he sat down and watched Raw with me, he's like, they're lighting fireworks off in the building? Oh my God. It's like a little kid watch, like I swear to God, he's like 5 years old, but he's like 30 something, it's amazing. But the point of that is I'm taking him to his first WWE show, as Monday Night Raw is coming to Milwaukee, and we will be there. So if you need somebody for that show, I will be there.
Do it. Yeah, call us up. We'd love to hear from you. We just kind of did a shout out. We haven't pushed that lately, but if anyone out there is going to go to a live Raw, Dynamite, or SmackDown and wants to schedule ahead of time being an on-site correspondent for 5-10 minutes with us, drop me a line, WadeKellerPostShow@gmail.com, and I'll reach out. And,
and especially someone that's going to be going there for the first time. I figured that'd be kind of cool too.
Super cool. Yes.
But, yeah. So as far as tonight's show, I've been loving Fatal Influence for the longest time. And honestly, with this, a good buddy of mine, Ross, which I don't know if he's actually called in, but he listens to you a lot. We're both hoping that there's either a Paige heel turn or a Bella heel turn, and somehow Paige is just left on the wayside going on a singles run. That's what we want to see. We want Paige on a singles run. We want that somehow, some way where Paige just goes on her own. We don't want her with the Bellas. We want Paige as women's champ again. So, but the Fatal Influence thing, oh God, it's so brilliant. It's so awesome. I love it.
What do you think, Josh, of Toxic Attraction / Fatal Influence / Fatal Attraction?
I know, but gosh, Gigi Dolan is just amazing. But Fatal Influence is great. My highlight of the show, I'm gonna keep it quick for you guys because I know you got a stack of callers. My highlight of the show was at the very end because I was praying so hard for a Finn Balor redemption story. Like, nice. Oh my God, I am a day one Finn Balor fan, and seeing him get that redemption, I'm like praying that he wins at SummerSlam so bad. I want to see him get that title again because, like, if anybody really deserves it, sorry, Sammy, get it at the back of the line. Finn really deserves this. Like, I don't care. He got robbed out of his title shot. He deserves this. You and I, all of us know that he deserves this.
Josh, chime in.
Yeah, no, it's hard to argue that. I love Finn. Finn is great, and he really caught a bad break 10 years ago. Wow. And then they have followed up so badly. And he also caught a really bad break when he almost beat Roman Reigns like 6 years ago, but the top rope just broke, and then they never explained it. But yeah, I think I like the idea of a Finn comeback story, but like the Sammy story is like just so good that I feel like he's a footnote in that story, unfortunately, as much as I love Finn.
All right,
but as far as like with that, I like honestly, if Finn wins at SummerSlam, right, I could see them going and even like just me personally, because I'm a huge Finn fan and I want to see the redemption. I could see them going down a further downward spiral with the Sammy thing, and maybe wake up Johnny Gargano, and Johnny Gargano is now teaming or doing something with Sammy. Like, really? I want Johnny wrestling back in some way, some shape, or form. Stop making him a comatose corpse on a freaking box, please. By the way, since we brought Baron Corbin back, does that mean we can bring Dijak back too, please?
Oh, I mean, it does seem like that. If he's available and healthy, I mean, it would follow a pattern that they're starting to establish.
Like, you shut the door on Dijak. You did him so dirty.
Yeah.
They did him dirty. That was my guy, man. I love Dijak. Oh my God, they did him so bad.
Yeah, he's doing well for himself in MLW right now.
Oh, I know he's doing very well in MLW, but at WWE did him so bad.
Yeah,
they really did. But that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for letting me pop on for a little bit. Keep up all the good work, Wade. It was nice to meet you, Josh.
Oh, you too, Hill. Mark.
All right, you guys keep up all the good work.
Thank you, Mark. I'm glad to hear from you. Glad you're doing well, and look forward to talking to you after your friend's first experience at a live wrestling show.
Well, it's his first WWE. He's been to live shows.
Right, yeah.
I took him to like independent shows, but his first WWE event. So
first big time event.
It's going to be exciting. I can't wait.
Prepare his ears ahead of time for the pyro, because that is.
Oh, I know.
You want to know that's coming.
He's got sensitive ears, so he was thinking about getting like noise canceling headphones or something.
Yeah, would be honestly.
Because he was like,
idea.
should I get like earmuffs or something? And I was like, no, you might want some noise canceling headphones with how sensitive your ears are.
Or at least a little things they hand out at. Or at least little things they hand out at bars that you can roll up in your little orange felt things.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
If nothing else, that,
Yeah, like if nothing else, that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Keep up the great show, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Rude Dog says this is the only dude I've ever heard complain about Dijak getting released. So anyway, he brought up Johnny Gargano. Josh, Powder P goes, if all this Gargano stuff leads to nothing, I'm going to be disappointed, but not surprised. I think it's going to lead to something, and there is, and it's going to make people mad because Gargano's so talented and has had such a good career. This could turn Gargano in. And again, I don't know the path to get there. I'm not like saying certitude is going to happen, but I don't rule out that like this is going to make him kind of a cult hero instead of a guy they throw on TV to take a few bumps before losing, which is kind of what sadly he became. You know, he isn't on a path to be like the next Daniel Bryan. He's on a path to be. Well, I'm trying to think who was a wrestler who just started losing, who got a push at one time. I don't know. Sean Spears didn't have enough of a push to count, but like, you know, just kind of a jobber to the stars guy, you know, and I don't know. I mean, this has a chance, Josh, to when he wakes up from whatever this is, that fans will kind of be into him. Not as a main event guy, but I don't know. Is it wishful thinking for somebody who's kind of got his talent and his background?
It's probably a little wishful thinking. You do assume that they didn't have any idea where this was going when it started, but it has picked up a little bit of steam. It's stupid, and it is a complete waste of his talent. But if it gets him to a place where he's having matches that he actually has a chance to win on TV, that would be a win for in-ring wrestling in WWE. So I have the same hope you have, although I'm also agree with our commenter that I won't be surprised if it amounts to absolutely nothing. That's also possible. Yeah. And was he on the show tonight? Did I miss that?
Yeah, he was laying on the crate. They cut to Sammy and Candice LeRae watching the main event. It was brief, and Gargano had his head on the side of the crate, not looking at the monitor.
Okay, good, because I didn't see him. I must have missed that. It's good.
Yeah, it was. You could have looked away for 2 seconds, and that would have been it. Or had a long blink. They didn't draw attention to it. Mark brought up Fatal Influence. Anything you want to say about their act and what they did tonight with the mic work and setting up the 6-woman tag match for SummerSlam?
I thought it's a good idea to go ahead and put the tag titles to them because Paige and Brie were not doing much for that scene. Although I had apparently never heard Lainey Reed talk until tonight, and her voice gives me shades of Tiffany Stratton, which is not a compliment, but at least she's supposed to be a heel. So there's that. And then, you know, you buried the lead on this, Wade, the return of Nikki Bella to right the ship of the women's division. There's that. And she said bitches, and the crowd went, ooh, like they hadn't heard it earlier in the show.
I love Charlotte going, payback's well, you know. And she didn't say it. And it's like she didn't want to reset the bitch-o-meter. It was implied, but she's like, nope, been said twice per show. I don't want Wade coming at me on the post show. I don't want to draw attention to it. So I don't know. I thought that was encouraging. Nikki calling NXT the minor leagues. I don't think they've ever referred to NXT as the minor leagues before on WWE TV. I don't know if that was scripted and she was authorized or she went into business for herself, but I don't know. I mean, she kind of has a foot in the mouth tendency.
That's true. I mean, she's not wrong, but yeah, you don't want to outwardly state that on your television show that the other show is the minor leagues.
Yeah,
even though it is.
It is I mean, it is WWE speak to not call it that, but it is the developmental system. And it is, as we saw with some vignettes that I didn't like because it was deconstructing wrestlers who were on a journey to create a marketable character for themselves. And I can do without that being in canon in the show, save it for some, you know, documentary or podcast discussion years from now. But it is the maker of stars. You know, it's like, it's the place where you see tomorrow's stars today. Those are all euphemisms for minor league. Sure. I mean, but you don't say it. But she doesn't know how to pronounce the wrestler's name. So, you know, she doesn't watch the show every week. Or if she does, she just happens to screw up a lot, and it can happen. But I don't know. There's something about Nikki's confidence and bravado that feels a little delusionally inflated. It's helpful to not be meek if you're going to be on TV. But yeah, meek is not her thing, to a fault. Yeah, Sadler Vision 3 says, yeah, I was surprised at the minor league line. Yep. And Rude Dog says you can call AW minor league, but probably not NXT. Ooh. All right. So Let's bring Crofton on after that, Darrell, and then we will sign off for the night. Crofton, welcome.
Hey guys, nice to meet you, Josh.
You too, Crofton.
We've never met before.
We have not. I have seen you on the show, though.
Sweet. I've also seen you on the show.
I'm on it sometimes. Makes sense.
And I agree with your friend Adam Kidd. Sammy is very good, and he was again really good tonight. I feel like Adam Pearce. If there is a battle of GMs brewing, he is the heel for sure. He is being an antagonist for Sammy, that's for sure. And Gunther has beat up GMs for far less than what he's putting Sammy through right now. So I am on the other side of you, Josh, in that I would rather he not have been booked in a random match. I think you said happenstance match against Finn Balor. They're both great guys. It's great, they're on a match at SummerSlam, but I would have preferred him somehow getting involved with the main event between Cody and CM Punk, which is not really doing a lot for me right now. So there are people out there who are on the other side of that, but you guys have sort of beat that to death already. So I did want to ask you about
that is not a fun way to frame our first half hour.
Oh, sorry.
It to death.
No.
You have covered that brilliantly.
You have covered it brilliantly. See, this is why you're a professional podcaster, Wade.
Brilliantly and sufficiently. It's just like, because you can imply, okay, enough is enough with sufficiently. And it's sort of a passive aggressive way of saying you beat it to death, but don't beat that blunt. It's like the minor leagues comment from Nick.
That came off as way harsher than I wanted to. I just was trying to get you guys out of having to talk about it again.
And it is your use of that cliche in a situation where I don't think you meant how it might have come across that caused me to draw attention to it, because I knew it would make you squirm a little.
We should have a feud about this, like slapping a belt in our face. That's enough to start a whole angle now. But
yeah. We seem to have lost Crofton. Was that a mistake?
Mid-sentence.
Was that a mistake, or did I do that on purpose?
He did that on purpose. He did. Jeez.
That's my belt slap. I was using my.
We're gonna have to settle this at Fanatics Fest. Now
he's having mic problems.
These things.
We can't hear him.
Technology.
Go ahead, Crofton.
He's throwing me off, Josh. He's throwing me off.
All right, go ahead. I won't.
I wanted to talk about Nick Aldis real quick.
Yeah.
So he seems like he's in a tough spot here. So he has a great story, but his character is not really packaged or defined for the casual WWE audience. Like, I don't know what his entrance music is. I don't know what his signature moves are. I don't know what his finisher is. I don't know what his wrestling attire really looks like for WWE. All of this, everything is going to be like first time presentation, him coming out at SummerSlam. And it makes me think of the kind of Jey Uso had a really good angle with Roman Reigns early on where they had a one-on-one match. I think it was at SummerSlam, and the Jey Uso singles wrestler character hadn't really been defined at that time. And it was the same sort of deal. Like, he came out, I don't know, I forget even what music he came out to that night, if it was the Usos collective music or whatever, but the whole Yeet thing had not started. It was kind of, so he had this big story but for the championship, but it was sort of like we were learning about him at that time. And I find, again, Aldis is in that situation where he's having a match against Gunther. We know Gunther, we know his but when Aldis has momentum or I'm not going to buy into it in the same way, because I don't know him as a character yet. So he's sort of set up a little bit to fail with his big debut being at SummerSlam. At least that's my takeaway. I'd be curious what you think is the best way to approach this when you have somebody in this situation. Like, how do you lay out a match like this?
So it's a great question. I have no good answer, because I don't know what they plan to do with Nick Aldis after this. Like, is he going to wrestle more, or is it a one-off and he goes back to a suit and a GM role? Do they want him to seem credible, or do they want him to seem like he put up a good fight, but he is 3 years retired, and Gunther is a top-tier guy who they want to keep strong for a championship run? Is Aldis going to look like he's in shape, or is he going to look like a guy who, kind of like Randy Orton said, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, it's like, I can't wait till I'm not a wrestler anymore so I can just eat a bag of chips and not worry about how I look on TV. like, I don't know. Like, is he motivated to get wrestler paychecks and healthy enough to like do that? And does WWE management believe in him enough to let him do that? Remember when Vince retired Randy Savage before Randy wanted to retire, and then he went on to WCW and had, a nice run there. Maybe Aldis wants to wrestle, but Paul Levesque's like, nah. Or is that, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. So when you say, how do they handle it? Do they want him to get his wrestling moves over and have a great ring attire and look like a main eventer more than some of the people that are pushing as main eventers? Or do they kind of want to portray him as a guy who is he's got a desk job now and he's okay with it? And they might actually sort of, for lack of a better term coming to mind, dumb him down a little bit as an athlete to make him feel more like an underdog, but also less like someone you want to see become a wrestler. Josh, do you have a sense of it? I don't think has there been independent reporting on like what the plans are for him beyond this that you've seen?
I have not seen any reporting on what they're doing with all this. Storyline wise, he's no longer, by signing the contract, he isn't GM anymore. But Crofton brings up a really interesting thing. Like in the middle of that match, like, is Aldis going to hit a move that is his finisher, and I'm not going to know? Like, should I even expect an ear fall when that happens?
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting conundrum. I think they could probably track down some footage and put together like a highlight reel. I mean, they have a week to kind of give you an idea of who he is going to be in the ring. I'm guessing, knowing what I know about Nick Aldis, that he's in like perfect shape, that he looks amazing. I'm certain that he's going to come out and look like $1 million. But yeah, the actual match could be interesting because honestly, I don't know what Nick Aldis's moves are. I haven't seen him since the original All In or All Out, whichever one that was, where he wrestled Cody. That's the last time I saw Nick Aldis in the ring. So I'm interested to see that. And the theme music thing's another conundrum. Like, the theme music situation as it is now is not great. You have people coming out getting no reaction as it is, but he's going to get no reaction unless he comes out to that music next week, and that's not enough time to build a rapport with the crowd anyways. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see what they're doing with him.
Sidebar, speaking of music, how did the people in the back know to play LA Knight's music when he was coming out through the crowd? How are we supposed to believe they knew he was going to run in? They played his music, and he was just hiding out in the crowd. He wasn't in Gorilla. Anyway. Stop doing that. All right, Crofton.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one that thinks they're in a bit of a conundrum. I did notice Wade Barrett later in the show, when talking about the match, said that he was temporarily discharging his GM duties. Yeah. So the inference there might be that he returns to GM after this and then occasionally, laces them up again. But the whole thing, like, he's going to come out in a stadium show to music and have a match that you hope is going to elicit drama. We know hopefully who is going over in the end of this match, and so therefore, like, for it to be something more than a squash, you need some of these elements. And while I really enjoyed the story and I enjoyed Nick Aldis's performance as the GM, I just don't understand where they go from there. Maybe he can borrow Chad Gable's Dad Rock for the night or something in Minneapolis, but I don't know.
By the way, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. I could go on, all older than Nick Aldis.
Right. Yeah, I had seen that too. Yeah. He's still in his 30s. Good for him. But and it's also like, what does he want? Wade, you've talked about how Johnny Gargano has a good gig lying on boxes for a paycheck. Yeah. Well, like Nick Aldis is, he's touring around, but he doesn't have to take any bumps. And he is, in my mind, done a really good job in the role that's been given to him for a fairly long time by the standards of these GMs. So I would be happy for him to stay in that role if they don't have a great wrestling character for him, as long as that's something that he would want. But Johnny
Gargano, by the way, younger than Nick Aldis by like 6 months, but he's younger. Finally,
sweet. Yeah. I was gonna just mention Damian Priest quickly. The backstage interaction he had with Cody, I think, like I mentioned in the chat earlier, I was one of the not fans of the Cody CM Punk segment, but I'm clearly the minority, so I won't harp on that. But right before that segment happened, Cody met Damian Priest in the back, and Damian indicated sort of to Cody that, like, it's the same guys on top. and the boys are in the locker room or whatever are sick of it, and the fans audibly reacted to it, like he got a cheer for sort of calling Cody out on that. And I thought that was really a bizarre thing to do, because it kind of undercuts your whole, like, your main event. And they'd also been doing this with Roman and Seth, with LA Knight calling out the same thing on the other show. And but also I was really flabbergasted that the casual audience, not the sickos like me, were reacting positively to what Damian Priest was saying and being like, like we are sick of these same guys being on top. And then right after that, they're like, let's put Cody and Punk in the middle of the ring and have a promo off. I had Damian Priest's voice in the back of my head being like, what the hell? It's always these guys,
Well, at least Cody acknowledged it. It was kind of cool. If it said, just own it, acknowledge it. Yeah, what do you think about that, Josh? The wisdom of having Priest say a lot of the boys in the back are sick of the same old faces, and Cody's like, well, I used to be one of the boys. You kind of still are. I mean, even if you have a bus, you're still one of the boys. But I don't know. Josh, what do you think of introducing that?
Yeah, no, I clocked that as being kind of strange also. Like I think that I've been thinking that for the last year or two. We've had the same guys on top for a long time. It's time to cycle into new stuff. Yep. But I don't know why they're introducing that into canon. And I was, like Crawford, surprised that the crowd, like in general, was of that belief. So yeah, while it highlights my feelings.
In fairness, it wasn't a huge pop. I mean, it was audible. But I'm not saying it was 70%.
It wasn't like they didn't stop and like do the wave or anything. But yeah, people reacted more than I would have guessed based on what I know. Yeah. And like I said, these echo my feelings, although Damian Priest isn't the solution, in my opinion, either. But he's right. Somebody new on top would be great. For that. Yeah. But also, like, Sammy was champion 18 days ago, and that was kind of a new guy on top, too. And he kind of left that out entirely. But I just think it is odd to bring into canon, as that is how people feel. They don't usually, like, it's on minor league things we mentioned earlier. Like, that's true, but don't say that. Why are you saying that?
Like, what about Pat McAfee?
You're right.
I'm holding up the Pro Wrestling Torch newsletter headline earlier this year. Pat McAfee says WWE is now, quote, absolute shit. The standard is
it was, sure, but you don't say it on TV.
It's like, we can't be shocked that they let Priest say it if McAfee said that, although McAfee was authorized but also went into improvise because he's the $50 million ESPN guy that everyone marks out for. WWE's top tier influx headed into summer. You're talking about, ready for young guys. This is my May 6th cover story in the Pro Wrestling Torch newsletter. And, it did seem like there was this momentum for the young roster. And now, I mean, where is that youth movement? Sammy and Finn love it. They're not youth movement. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. We look at this lineup, and even Gunther and Nick Aldis, what's 38 versus, is Gunther 40 now? 40-ish. So yeah, I mean, there's no youth. I mean, they're not capitalizing on Javon or Trick or Braun Breaker. Oba Femi's against Brock, so Oba's the young guy. On the women's side, there's more of it, but
they got Nick Aldis.
Yep.
Yeah, he's on the younger side, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's on the younger side.
As we established, yeah.
Just for audio listeners, Wade held up a newsletter that said Pat McAfee says WWE is complete shit. And I would just say, Wade, you should keep that with you at all times. And whenever somebody is making a point that aligns with that, you should just hold it up. And I think that would be a good recurring segment. I do think that the Damian Priest was an odd messenger for this, but it just seems like a recurring message that we're seeing across from various characters, be it Sammy, be it LA Knight, be it now Damian Priest, across multiple shows. And I share Josh's point of view of that there's these 6 or so guys that are generally holding the main event hostage in a way, and so, like, I don't know if this is going to eventually transform itself into some sort of angle, like the upstarts versus the establishment or something, like a War Games match or something. I think they could do something interesting. I don't trust them to necessarily do that or pull that out. And honestly, it may just draw attention when you're talking about the booking of the show. It might not be a smart way forward, even though it would attract somebody like me. It might not be great for when you're saying, hey, like these guys have always been in the main event all the time. It feels like counterintuitive booking. But
the you think, oh, Royce Keys is a youth movement, right? Like, oh, they're giving him a fresh push, but I mean, he's been around. He's 41. Jacob Fatu is like a young Turk at 33 on the show, and Dominic. Dominic is on the SummerSlam lineup. Is he the youngest wrestler in the top matches?
Oba.
Oba might be. Because Penta's 40-ish. Chad Gable is what's Gable's age? I don't even know that right off. He looks like he's going to forever look 32.
Yeah, Gable's got to be like 36.
Yeah.
On the older side.
So yeah, I mean, there's not. I mean, and they can get around to it. Oh, he's 40.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Chad Gable 40. All right, looking good for 40. I mean, this is not a. I mean, I'm pointing this out over and over, but I'm searching for a counter narrative, Crofton, and this is Damian Priest is right, although he is not the best messenger for fresh faces on top.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Last thing for me, guys, is just Solo Sikoa, who went on some weird sort of backstage rant with LA Knight and Royce Keys, and I get that they're trying to make them like an odd couple trio thing, and they're leaning into, I think, Solo's comedic side, but I did think it was a bit weird tonight. Do you guys have any sense of where they're going with him towards? Is this towards babyface, or is he just too weird and annoying kind of to reach that point? Like, how are you feeling about where he's heading right now?
What do you think, Josh? I don't have a good answer.
Wade, last time you and I were doing the SmackDown post show, Solo was still a heel, and I said, I really like the work he's doing. He's doing nice, subtle, kind of funny character work.
Yep, I remember
and
that.
Then he turned face, and then he did whatever this was backstage, which was probably supposed to be funny character work, but it was not subtle or funny or good. And I was so disappointed because I was trying to get on the Solo train just a couple weeks ago, and now like that train is derailed. Yeah, I don't know what they were going for with this, and he is not getting like loud crowd reactions or anything. And yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I don't know what they're doing. I don't.
Yeah.
And
so you think he's face, like still wearing that jacket with the black gloves or the whatever he's.
I think it was a face turn when he attacked Jacob, also a face, and when he attacked Jimmy Uso, who's also a face. That was his face turn, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, aligning with Knight makes you, and Keys makes you a baby face.
Right, against other baby faces still.
Yeah. Rude Dog says, I like awkward Solo.
It was awkward. I'll give him that. If that's what he's going for, he nailed it.
Awkward.
Yes. Doing LA Knight's catchphrases. Sadler goes, Solo does the swerve, bro, and joins the bloodline, I think. And then says, yeah, Solo is funny, in my opinion. And Paul Verbeek goes, I like Solo. He's funny to me. And he is. Like, you can tell they think there's something there, and they're trying to figure out the right context for him to have an edge and be sinister, but also tap into his comedic side and sort of the thing that, people see off camera with him. And, he's a likable guy. He's like, everything I hear is like just a cool, chill dude, good, whatever. So I don't know, but you couldn't explain Solo's character to like Mark, who called before he crossed it. Like, how's he going to explain Solo's character to his new WWE viewer? So let me explain Solo to you. Like, I don't even know where I'd start. Like, in a way where it would be consistent and someone would have an idea of who he is. Like, I don't know. And then if you came up with something, it wouldn't necessarily be consistent with him from week to week on TV.
He didn't talk in the bloodline at all, I don't think. He was just like the heavy, and now he never shuts up.
Yep.
So
yep.
I do like, I admit I enjoy him, but I also take what Josh is saying in that I don't think he's getting any reactions either which way right now. Like when he walked out, he was the first to come out during the Fatal 4-Way to sort of like set the stage for the schmoz that was going to follow. And, he comes out and there's like no real reaction from the crowd. Like, not that he came out to his music like LA Knight planned, coordinated. But yeah, he just came out. But I don't think he's drawing a reaction. And I also don't think he's seen as a physical threat. He's now leaning into sort of that comedic figure. And Wade, you've mentioned his ceiling in the past, where you felt that he's well suited for kind of where he is. It's just a matter of like, I think this goes to your ambiguity about heels and faces right now. This is another one of those. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about Solo.
Yeah, ambiguity leads to ambivalence. I say that. And Goodfellas says reactions are crickets. Mass audience is confused for sure. Sadler in the chat goes, I think it's mainly because nobody has any clue who's a heel or face in that feud. Indeed. I mean, like, whatever they want Solo Sikoa to be, he's tied to the bloodline. So it's sort of like, well, we got to have him talk about that. But there's something about who he really is sort of revealing himself to be, like his actual personality that's kind of leaking through and what they're leaning on with him. That doesn't have the gravitas of being a potential tribal chief, or he doesn't even feel like he'd be a master manipulator. He seems like a guy who would like convince you that you went with the right roofing company if he was the guy giving you the estimate. I'd like, oh, okay, go. He's kind of funny, kind of self-effacing, self-deprecating, but he kind of knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't take himself too seriously, and he's kind of fun to talk to, and he'll talk about sports with you, or yard work, or a recipe for what to do if you have got dead spots on your lawn under a tree. Like, just be like that nice guy. You'd be, I want to do business with him. I feel good about that. I don't know that sells wrestling tickets. It doesn't make me root against him. But it's
a very specific reference, Wade.
It gets more specific because he also is an expert on ants getting into your. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Well, I beat my questions to death, so I'm going to I'm going to leave you guys to the next caller. And thanks again. Great to meet you, Josh. And thanks for your time, both of you. Great show.
Awesome. Thank you. Drew Dog says, "Why do you think Solo is a landscaper?" Wait, I don't know. It's the first. I'm just thinking of a dude who doesn't. I wouldn't pay money to see him fight, but seems nice enough. He seems nice enough. How would I run into him? All right, Crofton just bailed. He hung up on himself. All right, Darrell, you ready for us? Yes. All right, let's bring Darrell in. Goodfella says, "Good call, Crofton." I agree. All right, what's up? What's up, Darrell? You're on with Josh.
Yeah. How you doing, Wade and Josh? How y'all doing tonight? Enjoy the conversation. Hey, I tell you a show that Sami Zayn and Solo could fit in. Tulsa King. Solo already dressed like a member of the Tulsa King faction, and Sami could be one of the characters, one of the antagonists on the show. He got enough humor and seriousness. He could be on that show right there. And they already linked in with TKO Paramount.
Did you recommend Tulsa King? I haven't seen it.
Tulsa King is a very good show. Very good.
Josh,
show.
You're saying yes too?
It's if you can buy Stallone as kind of a hard ass, yeah. Which okay. I just think he's very entertaining in that role. Yeah, I appreciate what I've seen of it.
Cool.
Old wise guy trying to make it out into something. That's what they got him as, like an old wise guy who getting off on people just by talking them out of their businesses and then taking over. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, what else, Terrell?
Okay, just to touch on some things that y'all touched on, but I enjoyed that they allowed Gunther to bring up the qualifications of Nick Aldis, and bring up the him being NWA champion and stuff. I'm surprised they ain't say TNA champion since they are.
I know,
TNA, but I guess since people been talking about last day or so that WWE and NWA is supposed to be doing something eventually, because somebody came out in the interview and said something about that. I have to send it in to you once I go back and read it again. But I thought that was clever because that allowed Nick Aldis to go and hit every point that he tried that he needed to hit to make this match feel a little bit better. And maybe it can go up on the list of your poll too, because I'm liking the story that they told tonight and Gunther again showed why he's probably the top heel in the company when you allow him to be that way by what he did tonight. it was perfect.
Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. I was surprised that they mentioned the NWA, but I think it's good. It gives all this some credibility. So people have only seen him in WWE, have only seen him as a GM, and they've mentioned his wrestling history. In fact, Gunther brought it up in a mocking way. But yeah, noting that he was NWA champion is good. I'm also surprised they didn't bring up that he was TNA champion. And I'm surprised Gunther, as a heel, didn't mention that Cody beat Nick Aldis for the NWA championship, but that event was the genesis of AEW, so they'll probably never mention that.
I'm curious, how much they allow him to look competitive against Gunther, and I'm curious style-wise, because Nick Aldis was not a flashy wrestler. I mean, it's more than the kind of Cody realm than the Will Ospreay, Seth Rollins, like I'm going to do a bunch of spots, work rate stuff. He's definitely more of a traditionalist in how he goes about it, and part of it is because he's not like super graceful athletic. He's a old school heavyweight, hard hitting guy, and so it's style wise. I'm not sure how that translates to. I think the Gunther match will be kind of it feel like it might have been a MSG like headline match in 1973. Like on old WWE Network, we could watch those old house shows. Like I'm curious. And it's not a demeaning, derisive comment. It's just like it's going to be about the story, the body language, the facial expressions, and I'm interested to see what Gunther will not treat this like just another match. I think there's respect for Nick, and Nick is going to want to have a moment that rewards WWE's faith in putting him in that spot. Yeah,
and being that he's the ring general, we done seen Gunther lead people in some great matches and some good matches, so he should be able to go and adapt with any style.
Rude Dog says in the chat, I think it could be a fluke win for Nick Aldis. Good fella, I think very safely predicting a slow and methodical, but he does go for it. Paolo Repeat says, give me some mat wrestling. And Goodfella says, I think Aldis might win also. And he also is predicting his chest will be destroyed by chops. Yes. Go ahead, Roll.
He just need one hope spot. That's all. Just give him one hope spot to build back off of. Then you can end the match off of that. That's all. They'll move forward. Sami Zayn tonight. Wade, you always talk about when they doing and they had the camera linger and then it's on to somebody else and he talking and stuff like that. Tonight, I like what Sami did. They had her talking.
Yep.
He grabbed the cameraman and said, no, you get over here. Let me talk to you. I'm done.
Yes.
Don't listen to her no more.
Yep.
And that, if they start doing stuff like that, I ain't say everybody got to grab the cameraman, but you make actions that answer why is this cameraman just turning around and listening to this person. Tonight he did that with the
and they had a good presupposition for going backstage. We want to get update from the trainer's room and so on Nick Aldis, and so it just made sense to have a camera backstage for something which Sami then cut off and interrupted. So yeah, I mean that's what I say, that my complaints, whether people think they're not a big deal, like who cares if LA Knight's music plays and no one's wondering how do they know to play it if he comes from another part of the arena. Well, first of all, you don't know that. Second of all, it should matter. You want to have a product that feels realistic enough that people would be bothered by that. And if they're not, maybe you should make your product more realistic. But these are easy fixes. Like, in fact, the backstage thing with Sami was an easier fix than even the music thing, because you do risk not getting a pop if you don't play music. I would rather have LA Knight jump over the railing and attack, and then they play his music like, oh, there's LA Knight, we're obligated to play his music. I think that'd be clever and kind of like almost subversively fun, that like we're obligated to do it when we see somebody, rather than make it just seem fake. Sami found a way around it. These are easy fixes, all of it. It might not be as cinematic, but to me, I value way more a product that feels like it exists in the real world and that there are cameras around filming stuff and they just happen to catch it, but it's not pre-planned. I think that's it gives you a different vibe watching it that allows you to buy into everything else that matters.
And I feel like it was able for Sami to tell a story, because even when he started speaking to the general manager who was going into the door to see Nick, he even brought that up and said, hold on, no, you don't need to go in there and talk to him. I need to talk to you right now.
Yep.
Don't worry about him because he deserved what he getting. That fed into Sammy.
Yes.
It fed into the whole story. So what you be saying helps drive a story when you're trying to tell a story. And Sammy tonight did so well with the story that he was telling, with everything. And it even led up even all the way to when you seen him in the backstage with Candice LeRae. You see them establishing, hey, this might be a faction or something, a group later that could pop up on SummerSlam. Maybe Johnny wakes up and helps Sammy in the nick of time when he needs something. And now you got your crew for whoever come out of SummerSlam who facing Sammy and his new crew and stuff like that. So all that was a good storytelling all tonight. Muted.
Josh, I'm genuinely intrigued with what happens next with Sammy after SummerSlam, like at SummerSlam and after. In the immediate, I think, long term, we can, imagine a Royal Rumble win headlining in Saudi Arabia. We can imagine different things, but like in the short term, does he get a title match? Is it a triple threat? Is it one-on-one? Does he come up short? Does Johnny Gargano turn on him and turn babyface? Because he's whatever. I mean, there's like all kinds of little cards they could play or little directions that they could go that we could imagine. I think it's going to be good because Sammy makes almost pretty much anything good, but I don't want him to be defined down or pathetic. I want him to be entertaining, but I want us to be sort of like still seeing him as somebody who's got a point, and you kind of understand he's reacting the way Sammy does, but there's a point to it, and he is good in the ring, and I want them to protect that going into next year.
Yeah, so like Sammy could lose the Finn, and that could be another trip down the road for Sammy being upset and always coming up short, even though he won the title. None of us always being disrespected and coming up short. But I think the more interesting story is Sammy beating Finn, maybe with help from Johnny, maybe a returning KO, who knows, and being like the next challenger for either Cody or Punk. I think Cody and Sammy one-on-one with Sammy as a actual full-fledged heel would be great. I think Punk versus Cody, or Punk versus Sammy, face heel matchup. I think that's a really interesting direction they could go. So I think it's kind of a win-win if he does win at SummerSlam. And like you said, Sammy's so good, he can make it work even if he loses. But I think the most interesting path forward, especially in the title scene, is for Sammy to challenge whoever comes out of SummerSlam with that title.
Do you like that, Darrell?
Yes, I like that, and I think with Sammy, if you facing Punk, which I hope that would be with Punk telling you he telling the truth and stuff like that. Sammy is telling the truth, but he's telling it in a way that makes him feel a little slimy and a little whatever, and it's a good balance of just forces looking back at each other and probably doing the same thing. It's a good contrast with each other, so I'm very interested in seeing what Sammy does after that.
Good fellow in the chat goes, Sammy makes everything work. NXT students should study him and Kevin Owens. I get it. There are some duds, but he is so good at character work. As far as where he goes from here, Sadler Version 3 goes, either direction works for Sammy. He could lose and continue to spiral, or he could cheat and win to solidify his heel status. Powder of Pete predicts Sammy will ultimately lose again and goes further down that spiral. And Derek Mitchell says maybe Sammy can win Money in the Bank in October. And Powder Repeat says this is the type of story that makes a heel a heel. Why are they bad? Because something made them that way. So yeah, Drew, what else?
Okay, and like I said earlier in the chat, I like what Punk and Cody did, swinging that back, got away from the middle, put it back on them facing each other. Yeah, they sprinkled in some little stuff, saying, talking about we brothers and stuff like that, and the Cody doing and knocking the mic out his hand and stuff like that. That was a good way to acknowledge what they did last week and let's move forward past it. But I like that they put all the stuff about the title, even when Cody was talking about when he brought up, and that's something else that you talk about, Wade, like we see interactions in the back, and then when they come out in the ring, they don't talk about it or they don't say what they watched. Cody in the back told Damian Priest, I saw what you said last week. Even though I was on the show, I still went back and I watched and I seen what you said to Punk and stuff like that, and talking about the boys and stuff like that. And I like that Cody brought it out there in the ring and said, yeah, people might not like this, but I'm tired of defending. I'm tired of apologizing. I'm doing the apology. Yes, I'm the one who they call to come on the show because now I am the show. I'm the one who they want and stuff like this. And it's because, and then he turned it around and said, because I want that what's on your shoulder. And yeah, you might rub me I might sweat when you come around. I don't sweat none of the other people. And he bigged up the other people as you think some faces should do. They should big up the people around them. But I like how he turned everything around. And then they made the title feel important. That whoever wins this title, we are the big dogs. We are the big people on the show. A lot different than that other title match that's in fourth place. But at best, I like what they did tonight.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to add to what we said earlier, Darrell, but I'm nodding along, to what you liked about it. Josh, anything that Darrell brought up that you want to expand on or comment on?
I heard that we beat that to death already, but we have been effusive in our praise of that just because it was so good. Yeah, and so I agree with Darrell completely. Yeah, they just did a very good job of redirecting that whole story in a positive direction, focused on winning and the belt, which is the simplest story, and sometimes they overcomplicate things when they have a perfect, easy story right in front of them. So
I will say, when there was comments about Cody getting booed when his music stopped, if you had said X number of weeks or months ago, oh, Cody's going to be against CM Punk at SummerSlam, do you think that 8 days before the match, if he does a segment with Punk, he'll get booed? And if so, how loudly? I think this was, for most people, the under, not the over, on how much he'd get booed, opposite of a baby CM Punk. Like, I mean, okay, it's sort of like saying, hey, my football team only lost by 3 when they were, favored to lose by 8 or 7.5 or something. I mean, but honestly, Cody's standing in the ring opposite of CM Punk. He's not getting rejected. It just a minority of the crowd booed him a little bit, but there wasn't like these thunderous CM Punk chants. There wasn't any Cody sucks chant. Like, this is not, and WWE might think, or TKO executives might think, hey, there's not enough crowd heat, people are bored. I'm just like, no, this is an example of two wrestlers who fans respect and want to see wrestle for a championship, and they're going to like them after this match equally, and you've made the title seem important, you built up their legacies, and they're acting like grown-ups, and that isn't going to elicit some communal chant that's disruptive. They didn't sing Cody Rhodes, or do what chants. That's a victory. Start gauging victories in a different way other than if there was a loud chant that interrupted the cadence or the flow or the rhythm of the promo. So I want to preemptively say it's not a failure because crowds weren't hating on Cody or hating on Punk. They just like them both, and that's okay. And it's number 2 on our poll for the most anticipated match of the night. I mean, that's not nothing.
And they paid attention to the ending, and they paid attention to the story, because when Punk was leaving the ring and he played his music, they cheered. Then when Cody stopped him and he said, well, we're going to play the music of who's going to be pinning you, and I win it for the 4th time, they cheered and they hyped for that. So if you're attention to the story.
If you're a CM Punk fan, you're listening to Cody tell CM Punk, your pipe bomb promo was the template for what I did next. You inspired me. And then the humility of Cody to say, and I knew every step of the way they wished it was you, not me. Like, a lot of fans were thinking, imagine if Punk had done this instead of you. He's admitting that, like, I know I'm not as popular as you, and I never will be. I mean, it kind of was for a little stretch when he first got to WWE. I mean, I'll put Cody's pops in the genuine emotions fans felt for Cody in the realm of Punk at his peak, but Punk obviously just overall has a more fervent fan base. But yeah, and then he put over the roster. We've got the best roster thanks to Triple H and Nick Khan for that. Like, basically, you had Cody and Punk building each other up instead of tearing each other down. Okay, it's not a flame war on social media come to life with a camera on them, but it's main event guys acting dignified adults who respect each other, but there's tension because the stakes are high. That's the story I was rooting for with these two. You don't tell that story every time, but it's the right story for right now with these two. That's my argument. Yeah.
Yes.
And you seen that tonight later with those other people.
Well, yes, and I'll add too. It wasn't just Cody. Punk says, Cody, I was watching while I was on the side, and I watched you show that I was on the outside looking in, and I saw there was a way back. Like, they put each other over. That's the issue with Punk and Reigns, is I just felt they were diminished by the end of tearing each other apart. And in the case, and even stuff with Seth and Drew, it's just like it gets all the stuff and all the, and even some Cena stuff, and I don't know. It's just in this case, I just think you're going to come out of this going, oh, Cody's a huge star, Punk's a huge star. You know why? Because I'm a Punk fan and Punk put Cody over, so now I like Cody more. No, I'm a Cody fan and Punk put Cody over, so now I like Cody more, but I also like Punk more because he put Cody over. It's just they're building each other up. I like it. I like. You can't do it all the time. You shouldn't do face-to-face matches all that often. But when you do, this is a path to take, and I want to underline and emphasize I like this for all those specific reasons that I had not introduced earlier.
I get you.
Yep.
And I would say this though, and this move on to my last thing. You can see why the other part don't work, because look at the interference of the guys who played in that in the fatal 4-way for the number 1 contenders. And we just talking about everybody who's attached to the bloodline and Roman Reigns and Seth. That's why you get the indifference. That's why they don't know how to act. You got Solo coming out there. Then you had Jay and Jimmy coming out there acting like they baby faces, but they doing heelish stuff and things like that. Then you got Jacob coming out there costing Royce the match. I know they got a match coming up, but he doing something heelish. The crowd trying to cheer him. Then when he started attacking and then ramming Royce into the barricade, then they like and it just made everybody feel off. And that whole Roman and Seth thing been that way from the start, and it just hurting everybody. And it's not building anybody up, and it's tearing everybody down. Where afterwards you're gonna have to do a whole lot just to rebuild those guys all the way up. Mute.
WWE is a high school football game you go to on a Friday night, and you wear your spring jacket, and it's too hot, so you take it off. And like 3 minutes later, it's too cold, and you put it on. And then like 10 minutes later, it's like raining a little bit, and you're like, put the hood up, and you're taking the umbrella, and then suddenly the sun comes. Like, it's just you don't know how to react to anything that's going on. You're just constantly like, oh, Jacob, I love him. Oh wait, no, what did Royce Keys do to him? Oh, LA Knight, he's the best. And oh God, like now Solo, he's kind of fun. It's like this whole thing. It's almost, I mean, in a way, it's almost a parody of the criticism of WWE. Like, could you write something to make more fun of the ambiguity and the contradictions than this? You're just constantly changing the to extend the high school analogy, the little what's the mini flag called, the pennant. You're constantly having to change your pennant. Like, yeah, go Jacob. Oh, nope, I gotta get my LA Knight pennant. Go LA Knight. It's like you're just changing who you're rooting for 1 second after another. There's no just settle in and enjoy the ride of believing that you want a certain outcome. But maybe after SummerSlam, everything falls into place, and even WWE saw this as a necessary evil to get to where they want to go. But it feels like more of a philosophy than a necessary chapter, an unfortunate needed chapter to get to where they want to go. But we'll see.
Hope so. Hope they can get back.
Yep. Cool. All right, Terrell, thanks.
All right, you guys.
Have a good weekend. All right, cool. Josh, anything else you want to add on the show? Like Jade and Charlotte? Nia Jax against Charlotte, and then the Jade stuff. We didn't really talk about that much. Anything stand out?
No, I mean, that was almost exactly what you expected when they announced the match, and then they showed Charlotte in the back. It's the exact same thing that happened last week. Yeah. Predictable, fine, whatever they're doing. I don't know. Yeah. Nia has a legitimate complaint, but who cares?
Charlotte did something. Oh, no, I already talked about it. She goes, you know the rest of that sentence. I was going to say something else about that angle or that segment. Nothing super is jumping to mind, though. Earlier, I was going to bring something up. But yeah, I mean, it didn't take up a lot. I mean, it's 8 minutes, another DQ finish. And yeah, like you said, kind of what you would expect to happen. What do you think is going to happen with Nia Jax now that she got screwed over twice? Like, it seems like this is also about her.
Right. My guess is they throw her into the 5-woman random match, and it just becomes a 6-woman ladder match for no reason. I mean, consolation prize, I guess, and then she loses that match. Although, bonus points, they got Chelsea, got a clean win, so I guess it helps to be a babyface, and she will be in that match. And no matter who else they put in that, I think the crowd will be behind Chelsea in that women's interim title ladder match.
They had a Chelsea Tiffany Stratton love fest. They just were giggling and getting along, and Tiffany seems on board with this friendship. And Her acting's still not good, but it felt like there was something a little bit more, maybe slightly more natural in the exchange with them. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, better than normal, I suppose. I guess just standing next to Chelsea helps. But I mean, they kind of skipped several steps. Like they were going with the whole, Tiffany doesn't like Chelsea thing. And then all of a sudden she's like, no, we're best friends now, like Charlotte and Alexa.
Yeah, I meant to include that in my question. Like, did we miss a chapter where we saw Tiffany kind of realize maybe Chelsea isn't that bad after all, and I'm better off not working totally alone? Yeah, I'm not sure if we have to create our own headcanon for that. Standard Aviation says, I've never said a good word about Tiffany, but the day has come. Chelsea's committee kill work extracted, I love that, extracted an entertaining speck from the fringes of Tiffany's personality, which remains both wooden and plastic. Both wooden and plastic. There we go. That's a feat.
That is exactly accurate, though.
Yes, yep. How you feeling about Royce Keys? Just a little rapid fire as we end here.
Well, I mean, I mocked Solo's performance, but I thought Royce Keys in the same backstage segment came across as a real human being delivering a good segment. I thought he talked well. If you saw them AEW, you didn't know he had words at all, but I thought he comes across well every time they give him a chance to talk. So good for him.
How did Trick seem like too much of a background player in this match, or did he have enough moments, even if the story isn't about him?
Yeah, that was my initial thought. Is this story has nothing to do with Trick. He's just in here because he's on SmackDown and not doing anything else. And you do want to keep him on people's minds, but he seems to be on a collision course with Baron Corbin and or Carmelo for SummerSlam. So he was exactly a background person. I mean, he came out without Little Yachty, so that's a step up in my estimation. Although what they're doing with his character is still kind of a mystery. Not that they've been super consistent heel face lately, anyways.
With R-Truth, I think we should watch his segments these days and imagine they came up with the idea because R-Truth was chilling backstage in the middle of a conversation and a writer went up and said, we don't really have anything. Do you have any ideas? And Truth's like, no, I don't know. How about I pretend I think the tag match is this week? And the writer goes, okay, fine. We'll just do that. Like, that's how inspired this feels. Like, they just, the first bad idea and they just don't care anymore. It's hard. It's like celebrity GMs. Like, eventually you just, like, okay, we can't do this every week, can we? And they did for a while, and then they can't. I mean, the punchline is you were frazzled because I used your credit card to buy hot dogs on the 4th of July, and Priest's like, no, those were free. I mean, like, how is this clever enough to bring up? And then Cody awkwardly walks in and goes, someone say hot dogs? I like hot dogs. I mean,
oh, Cody, yeah. I mean, you're right.
I am trying to be relatable human.
I also eat hot dog.
Yeah.
Thinking Cody out of it, like R-Truth himself is still like he 100% commits to the bit, but you're right. Yeah. It's the same bit. He doesn't understand something basic that everybody else understands, and then is confused, and then everybody else is confused why he's so confused, despite the fact that he's always confused. It should be the expected reaction for anything that happens.
Given the evidence and credible allegations against Vince McMahon, I don't like to use him as sort of a funny character in wrestling analysis, but I'll make an exception and say that if there was a weekly segment, if we did have a weekly segment of what is Vince McMahon's favorite segment of the week, like if he had retired respectably, it would be a fun segment to do. But I just don't think like we should be in the business telling funny Vince McMahon stories anymore with some of the horror stories and the texts, that have not been pushed back on as fabricated. So it's not even a matter of, well, it hasn't been in a court of law yet. It's just like you can kind of look and go, okay, let's not treat him as kind of a funny joke. That said, 4-way, oh, that's not PG. Ha ha ha. He's slapping his knees thinking that's the best segment of the show. I will now retire the what's Vince McMahon's favorite segment of the show with that one bit, but I'm thinking that's something that 4-way, that sounds like it's not PG. I mean, that's like a running bit with Truth segments, but it's just not clever. It's not clever enough. Truth is really genuinely funny, but it just feels forced now.
It is, and they always seem to go on like a little longer than necessary. If they can cut those down to like 25-second back and forth, like Truth didn't get this thing, it's funny because of this. Like I wish they would do with Danhausen, who, FYI, did I miss another one? Was he not on a show? Did we get Danhausen?
I know. Well, they showed him at Fanatics Fest, but yeah, he was not in fresh first run material.
Oh, that's a crying shame.
Yeah. Powder Repeat says, I really like what they're doing with Keys, and he's pulling it off. Derek Mitchell says, thank God for no Lil Yachty. Is Trick even going to be on the SummerSlam card? Sure. Yeah.
Yes. I assume so.
Yeah.
Although that's like a week and a half
here we go.
away.
Sorry. Josh, sorry. Derek Mitchell goes, Corbin attacked Trick after SmackDown went off the air, so it looks like we're getting that at SummerSlam. And that is the match that obviously Corbin said I'm coming after Trick. So go ahead.
Right,
yeah.
but SummerSlam is next Sunday, and that match has not been announced. They haven't announced who's on either night of the card. It seems weirdly incomplete for like the major show of this season.
It is, yeah. Rudog or Sadler says, I'm surprised Corbin got a match on a big show this quickly. I guess they have big plans for him. Or they just needed a turnkey opponent for Trick. I'm still not sure if Corbin or Trick is a heel in this matchup because Corbin's promo was not a heel promo. I guess attacking three people behind is supposed to be a heel move, but WWE doesn't always decry it when babyfaces do it. So,
right. And Trick is super cool, like a face might be, but acts like a heel most of the time, especially when he's hanging out with Yachty. So,
yeah, no, I know. All right, I was going to wrap up, but Derek Mitchell has forced us into a final segment with a super chat, Josh, and it's a fun one. Do you have any predictions on who might be wrestling on the ESPN broadcast for night 1 and night 2 of SummerSlam? I've talked about this, so my answer will probably be ridiculously inconsistent with my prior hunches on this because it is a bit of a crapshoot. But my thinking is like the old Raw SmackDown drafts when Raw was A show and SmackDown was a B show. It will look on paper to an unsophisticated follower as equal, and they could tell. Like I always thought they could tell network executives, oh, no, SmackDown got this guy and Raw got this guy, and that's equal. And everybody knows they're not, So I think we're going to get night 1. My prediction is when they announce the match, the nights, they're going to load up night 2 at the last second so they can at least try to top 40,000 on night 2 and have a good visual for Oba and Brock and Roman and Seth, who will be on night 2, I'm thinking. And but they want people to buy tickets for both as long as possible as they can until that last. Okay, for people who are holding out to find out which night their favorite match is on, we'll take the single night ticket sales for locals at that point for people who are holding out. So my short answer is the matches that matter, because some are just it's just totally, it'd be drawn randomly out of a hat. Oba and Brock and Roman Seth on night 2, Punk and Rhodes, and Penta Gable will be on night 1 because I think they want to spread out the Minnesotans. So get Brock on night 2 and Chad on night 1. I think the Bloodline storyline doesn't have to be on the same night as Roman Seth, but it probably will be, which means the women's ladder match will probably be the gift to night 1. Gunther, Nick Aldis, that probably will be night 2, but they'll give Sammy Balor night 1. That could go either way. And that's most of the matches that Danhausen and Dom probably night 1 because they'll want to do some lighter comedy on night 1, and Trick and Corbin could be either. I mean, it's a U.S. title match, so to even things out, maybe they'll put that on night 1 and move Danhausen and Dom to night 2. So that's me kind of talking through it now that we've got some more matches announced. Josh, what do you think? Do you think they're going to do anything remarkably different than what I said there?
No, I think that's probably right for the nights. They'll want to split it that way. I feel like they'll probably put Seth Roman as the night 2 main event, which normal people would recognize as the actual main event of the show, even though your poll, our discussion, like general consensus is that Punk and Cody is the more interesting match.
Yeah, can you make the case that you can't have Oba Brock headline above Cody and Punk? That'd just be insulting to Cody and Punk. And I think Roman, Seth, and Oba Brock go on night 2, but they just put Oba Brock on earlier in the night.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think his question was which ones are going to be on the ESPN portion of the broadcast.
Oh, I did miss that. Yeah, well, I saw night 1 and night 2. You're right. Well, we had fun doing a question he didn't say. So let's answer his actual question, Jeff. Good thing you're here. Do you have an answer first? Now that you were clever enough to actually read and pay attention to what he wrote.
Well, I was also questioning about what was going on each night, also. So that's the answer to my question, if nothing else. But As far as the ESPN section, they've done every time Brock's had a match, they put Brock in that section. I guess because he's a crossover star, and they want the odd chance of somebody flipping through ESPN to stop and watch Brock. So I feel like Brock and Oba, even though it's a Hell in a Cell, that'll be on night 2. That'll be on the ESPN portion, and I get the feeling they'll put Dominic and Danhausen on the ESPN portion because that has some weird sports crossover appeal. Those are my guesses. They'll probably, I bet
that'd be night 2.
Yeah, those 2 would be night 2 is my guess.
So then the 5-way ladder match for the women on night 1.
And something else that fits in there. Maybe Finn, Sammy. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking. Trick Corbin, just give Trick some ESPN exposure.
Sure.
U.S. title match. Oh, it's for a title. Yeah.
That's got a great entrance. Yeah.
Yep, and it won't go very long. So yeah, I think Trick, Baron, and the women's 5-way ladder match, night 1, ESPN, and I think I wouldn't be shocked if they don't do it. I'm not locked in on it, but I think let's get Brock and Oba as a match that creates a buzz on social media. A lot of people are seeing it, and now you got to see. But then you're headlining with Roman and Seth. Is that the real sales pitch?
I think that's what they're doing, though.
Yeah,
it's not what I would do, but I still think it's what they're doing.
Yeah, because then what's the second biggest selling point of night 2 if you give away Brock Oba on ESPN?
I think they think that is it.
That is enough. Wow. Because really, if they give away the women's match, the Danhausen Dom match, and Oba Brock, collectively over 2 nights, you're taking away some of the more compelling matches. So when you're actually doing the hard sell, if you give away Brock Oba, your hard sell is Roman, Seth, Liv, and Io maybe, and maybe you save the 5-way ladder match at that point instead. Because Sammy Finn is fine, but it's not going to sell people to order ESPN's premium level to get the full WrestleMania. There's not much left after that. So yeah, you might be right. I just don't. It's not a great situation to be in.
Yeah, I think Oba Brock is the biggest selling point, but I'm also almost certain that they'll put it on the ESPN portion. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. Okay, so Rude Dog says Brock is not on ESPN. They've already showed it WrestleMania weekend. Oh, Oba and Brock. Well, they did, but not in a Hell in a Cell.
Right. And the fact that they chose Brock and Oba last time is kind of what makes me think they'll do it this time also.
I think maybe a better and more likely alternative now that I think about it, because I just don't know if you can sell WrestleMania Night 2 with just Seth and Roman as the one sort of mark. I think you have, for instance, Dom and Danhausen on ESPN, and then maybe the LA Knight 6-man tag with a bunch of just action, but you're telling people the opening match up next when we go to ESPN is Oba. When we leave ESPN and go to the PLE tier, is Brock and Oba. And it's coming up next. It's coming up next. Play.
Like the cage is coming down. Yep. I think that's a good marketing move. I like that. I don't know if that's what they'll do, but that's what they should do.
And they're not hurting Brock and Oba's prestige by going on as, quote, the opener, because it's not the opener. There'll be 2 matches before it, but also it has the compliment of being the match that they think will actually sell people on upgrading to the paid tier. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm good. Rude Dog says you just booked it, Wade. And Powder Repeat says, yep, Roman is closing. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
For sure.
Thanks, everybody. PWTorch VIPinfo.com. If you have not signed up yet, good time to start because we got the AW pay-per-view Sunday night and our SummerSlam coverage coming up next weekend. Thank you, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.